This is part 2 of the Aileen Printie episode. So let's get started. Okay, so then that is it. It goes quiet until 10th of February 1988. That's 7 years after Aileen's murder. They're baffled. They haven't got any further. Nobody. They made another appeal at that point because but there's no updates. They were appealing for more information because, and it was one of the. It wasn't just a wee mini investigation. It was one of the biggest police searches ever mounted, apparently, in Lothian. So they really did go all out. They interviewed 4,000 people. They took about 1,000 statements, but they still didn't know about the cufflink. They still didn't know who she was on the phone with that night. They still didn't know who this man with the ice bucket was. They were still thinking about the possibility there might be a robbery motive, but
they needed Department Q. Didn't they?
They just didn't.
Did you watch that? Department Q.
No.
Did anyone else watch that? Yeah, it's great. But also one thing, why when they make, I'm just going to get up on my high horse for a second, whenever they make things about Scotland, they always make it dark. No one's very attractive. I might be losing the room here. Everyone wears brown. What's with that? Why does that keep happening? Anyway, it was a good show. It was very violent. Yeah, it was good. Did anyone else? Did you all like it? Have you all finished it? Yeah, it's good. It's a bit long. Sorry, we've got a question down the back.
Were there not any DNA or fingerprint searches done on the cufflink? Because I'm just thinking if you're going to attach a cufflink, there's the potential for DNA to have transferred.
So I'll get to that as well. I know, but the thing is, I'm doing it as they tell. So bearing in mind, we're the public, and I'm kind of doing it as nobody knows what's going on. It's not until later that all these things are kind of revealed a little bit. So I'll get there.
Is it going to be one of those DNA things that I found like in the 90s because they held onto the cufflink for so long and then they had the technology and it was all amazing? Yes, that was the answer. That was her face. That was the answer. We're done. See you later. I love when that happens. It's amazing. Right, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So like I say, on the 10th of February, the police were appealing again because they had nothing. They didn't know where they were going with it. So 3 days later, it was exciting a little bit because the Edinburgh Evening News had received an anonymous phone call. It was from a female and she'd given them important information regarding Aileen's murder. But I don't know what the important information was. No idea what it was. It was never revealed what it was. And the police just appealed again, saying, well, please will you get in touch with us directly? And they gave the number for the detective. She never came forward. I don't know what it was about. I don't know what was passed on, but she never got back in touch again. So that was another.
So we don't know.
That was it.
It's never. Why would you tell us that and then rip that away? That was really mean.
Because it's frustrating, isn't it?
It is
like all these little
frustrating.
people are coming forward. And is it important? What is it? And that is it until 1997.
I told you it was the 90s, DNA.
1997. So we're just,
That's a long gap. Is her mother still alive at this point?
Yeah, they're both still alive, mother and sister still alive. So 1997, 9th of May, the case is reopened and a man is being questioned. Oh, okay, so it's all exciting. So, following advances in DNA.
Yes! Woo!
Okay, but anyway, listen. Following advances in DNA technology, Aileen's case is looked at again, and an article in the Scotsman said, technological breakthroughs with DNA had allowed forensic scientists to build a profile of the killer using evidence gathered at the time of the murder. So remember that. Okay, so they're saying that they've got the profile of the killer from this DNA that was found at the scene, okay? Okay. It's important. So, they said, it was reported that a dozen suspects who were all cooperating with the police had been questioned. However, they were focusing specifically on this one man who they've had in for several hours. But he had been released because they weren't able to hold him any more than 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So they've been questioning him. Now, I'm not going to give his name, and you can always look it up yourself. It's all available, but because this is going out, I'm not going to share that information, and you'll find out maybe why at the end. But he was 32 years old in 1997. But back in 1981. He was 16 years old and he was a housebreaker. He was known as a housebreaker back then. Okay. So this man, he'd been questioned, he'd then been released, but it was reported that a report had been sent to the Procurator Fiscal. The police said that there'd been no charges at the moment, but their investigation was following a definite line of inquiry and that they were hopeful of getting a warrant for his arrest for the murder fairly soon. So, okay, this all sounds great. Aileen's family, they spoke about it and hearing about the report being sent to the Procurator Fiscal. Her mum, Teresa, she was then 71. She said it brought back painful memories, which is understandable. Her sister, Moira, she hoped and prayed that they succeeded, that they got this arrest. And she said that the police must have something strong on this man or they just wouldn't waste their time at this point. So, like I say, it's all sounding promising. Until the 4th of August 1997, that's 3 months later. Again, there's a headline in the Scotsman, and this time it reads, "Murder suspect found dead."
Oh, no one expected that in the room, did they? That was so close.
I know.
I hate when that happens.
Okay, so Aileen's family will speak again, and they fear that our killer has just escaped justice.
Had he taken his own life?
I'm going to get it.
Okay, sorry.
This is
heard all this before.
You ruined it.
I was right about the DNA.
So they thought he's the prime suspect. They saw them as the prime suspect, and he just escaped justice. Committed suicide. They weren't happy about that. But so this man, he had been found dead in his car. He drove his car to a quiet part of Edinburgh in the early hours of the 25th of July. He doused himself in petrol and set his body alight.
That's a horrible way to take your own life.
I know, isn't it?
That is one of the worst ways possible to take your own life.
And he was dead before the ambulance.
Oh, maybe that was a good comment. Someone else has done it. Because why would you do that when there's easier ways?
That's the worst way, isn't it? That must be happening.
It's horrible.
So Aileen's sister, she felt that she was sad because she was really disappointed because it was like they were finally just about to find out maybe what had happened that night, what had happened to Aileen, and it was taken away. At that point, it was finally revealed what the murder weapon was, and it was a brick. And she'd been beaten to death on the head with a brick. Oh,
that's horrible as well.
Yeah, but again, where was this brick? Why was it? The back door was broken. It was forced entry. It wasn't a window. Why is this person carrying a brick with him? Is it a robber?
So if he's been a housebreaker.
Yeah.
Is that his weapon?
It's his weapon. Yeah, that's a good point.
Taking it with him. Could be.
And the brick and the wallet was going for a demolition site.
Yep, that's true.
Oh,
Could have picked it up there.
So maybe it was like a last minute thing and he just picked it up outside.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I know that doesn't really fit, does it?
That's why.
Let's not forget the ice bucket. He took the ice bucket as well.
Somebody's taking the ice bucket. Okay, so sorry, Katie. Got a question. If you're going to ask about any sexual assault, I'm going to kill you because that's coming up.
Just be kind.
Like, who's going to walk away with a bloody brick and not have it? Like, we've got to find it. It's not going to be hard to spot out of, I don't know, a bunch of bricks if it's covered in blood. But who's actually going to walk away with one? Yeah. It's not easily spotted, like carrying one.
Unless it's in an ice bucket.
Oh, unless it's in an ice bucket.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So at this point, it was also disclosed that Aileen had sexual intercourse in the hours before her death, but there was no signs to suggest that she was raped. So consensual sex.
Okay.
So when and who is she doing this?
This is getting more and more questions, less and less answers.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And Aileen's mum believed that this man that took his own life, she felt that he couldn't cope with the pressure of the police investigation, and that's why he took his own life.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do we think it's him? Does anyone think it's him at the moment?
She was 30.
Yeah,
16.
16.
Yeah. He lived. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him because I don't want to.
Okay.
So, at the time he killed himself, he died. He was married with 3 children, and the Scotsman said that he suffered from psychological problems, or he had suffered from psychological problems. He did live close to Aileen at the time of the murder. I don't know whether they knew each other, but he lived in the vicinity of where she lived. And he had been questioned at the time of the murder, and along with 2 of his friends, after he had been seen drinking near, again, where she lived on the night of the murder, but he lived there, so he's going to be drinking there. He was known as a prolific housebreaker at the time of the murder. But he was, even though he was questioned, he was later ruled out of the police investigation as they believed that Aileen knew her killer. That was what the police believed.
Okay.
And they believed that the man Aileen had sex with in the hours before her murder had been her killer.
Would he have worn the cufflinks, though? He wouldn't have if he was 16.
Well, and was... that's what I mean, 16-year-old.
It's very rare to have a 16-year-old killer. Obviously there are, but that's really quite rare.
Especially with a 30-year-old woman.
And would a 16-year-old be attracted to an ice bucket?
Yeah, I know.
We've got to know about this bloody ice bucket.
I know. The only thing I could think of is maybe if he was in the area, maybe he was in the pub, and he maybe overheard, maybe she was on the phone with somebody in the pub and they were just saying, I'll have a nice holiday. Maybe he overheard and he thought, oh great, I know who that is. I'm going to go. I'm just making up stuff now. It's just because I don't know. That's what happens, isn't it? But I don't know.
If he's a housebreaker and he had stuff in his pockets from other houses he'd broken into, he could have dropped the cufflink and nicked it out another house.
That is a really good point.
But it's a Strasse.
Yeah.
Because he would have took her jewellery.
Yeah, no jewellery was taken. Yeah, housebreaker. Yeah.
Was it a special kind of ice bucket is what we want to know.
It wasn't. I can't take it. I don't think so.
Yes, he could have put the brick in it.
But he didn't. He left the brick. No, he left the brick. The brick was
he
there.
did leave the brick.
Yes, so he left the brick. Aye, the brick was there. Sorry.
He left the brick, everyone. He
left
left the brick.
Yeah. Sorry. I missed that. Yes, the brick was there. So they did have the brick. Yes, they had the brick. Yeah, they had it.
DNA of the brick. With the blood on it.
She's coming. Are you coming to that? Look at her face.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to say anything.
So anyway, okay. So just at this point, the police's theories, they've got so many theories. It's either Aileen knew her killer, perhaps a boyfriend, and because she was known to have sex before the hours before she was killed. Was it a random burglar? And on realising the property wasn't empty, he killed her? Or was it a burglar and Aileen knew him and he killed her because she knew him and could identify him? So they've got a few theories, and again, they're just getting nowhere.
If she knew him, why would he need to kick in the door? Why would he not just knock at the door?
Unless it was someone else that she was seeing and then he left. And then...
Yeah, it's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? That one just goes out, another one comes in.
Was she still in her clothes that she was wearing the night when she went out, or was she in her?
It didn't say. That's actually the point. It didn't say anywhere at all what she was wearing. Nothing. What she was found. As we don't even know, did she get to bed? Is this happened? We don't even know when it happened. Did she get to bed?
Yeah, that's true.
Did it happen through the night? Was somebody break it? Nothing. Don't know that. So then what's next? We thought we had somebody and now they're dead. So what happens next? So the Procurator Fiscal, or the police asked the Procurator Fiscal if Aileen's murder could be closed, because that was the next step.
No, that's not what you want if you're the family.
Well, Aileen's mum, she said she accepted that despite the police's long-held belief that Aileen likely knew her killer, she now was happy to believe that Aileen had disturbed a random burglar. This was the 16-year-old boy at the time.
Okay.
And he had attacked Aileen when she disturbed him. So they were happy to, that was the line. That was what the police,
that's what it was. Okay.
So we're happy with that. Aileen's mum didn't know whether he meant to kill her, maybe just panicked and hit her too hard and it caused her death. But it said somewhere else that she was bludgeoned to death. So that doesn't sound like panic. And it sounds like it was intent.
Was she covered over?
Yes, with a continental quilt.
Because that's what killers are supposed to usually do, aren't they? If they know the person, they cover them because they feel bad.
Yeah.
But if they don't know them, they don't usually cover them.
It said that somewhere as well, that she was covered over because the killer just couldn't bear what he'd done. But it's just speculation.
Okay.
So, like I say, Aileen's mum was happy with the picture the police had built, and she was happy that she knew what had happened to Aileen that night. Aileen's mum was told that the police suspected that this man was Aileen's killer, and Aileen's sister firmly believed that, she believed that she was glad it was over, and she was happy that they weren't going to have to go through the court case. So, despite having no answers to any of these questions, there's this man, they've decided this is the 16, it was 16 at the time, this is who did it. This is who did it, they've decided. So, there was so many questions left unanswered. I mean, this poor man, he had a wife, he had 3 children, he had a good job, he was just getting on with his life. Did he take his own life? Him taking his own life, does it prove his guilt? Does it prove that he's guilty? Would he have been found guilty in a court of law? Because that's the only way we can do it. Would this outcome would you feel, if you were this family, Aileen's family, would you feel like it was justice had been done? They were happy. They felt that we're happy now, we're all right.
Yeah. Maybe it was just so much stress on the family. They just wanted
they wanted to finally
forget about it. That sounds horrible, but maybe just to be done with it and accept what the police were telling them.
Do you think, because at the time the papers named this potential suspect, and that's all he was, there was no arrest, no nothing, so they named him. Do you think they should have done that before he was even charged, before he'd been arrested? And the police, I mean, they also said in the papers, out there that, we're expecting to get this arrest soon, but nothing had been done. His name was out there. They were basically telling everybody, we've got him, we're just waiting for it now. So that was I found that
that's horrible. They used to publish everything in the papers back then, though, didn't they?
Because it's a family. I mean, okay, if he killed, then fair enough. But what about the family? He's got 3 kids as well.
Yeah.
So that I didn't really like that very much. That's left hanging over them now as well. So like I said, the Fiscal's office, they doubled down, even though there was they doubled down. They said that they've concluded an investigation into the death of Aileen. The report's been sent to the Procurator Fiscal. The suspect was identified, and that individual is now deceased. And the police were the same. They believe that there was a sufficiency of evidence in the report that they sent to the Procurator Fiscal, which would have secured a conviction in court. So they're basically telling everybody that's it.
That happens so often as well, doesn't it? Like the sort of easy solution.
Okay, so not quite finished. So November 1997.
She's getting to your question. She's sitting up. Get ready for this.
So 4 months after the prime suspect took his own life, it was finally revealed what the key piece of information had been that made the detectives wholeheartedly believe that this 16-year-old prolific housebreaker had been Aileen's murderer. So they were going to tell us. Okay. It wasn't forensic or DNA evidence that linked him to the scene, to the crime scene. Bearing in mind, remember I said earlier that was what the newspapers were reporting, that there'd been this breakthrough, they'd gathered the evidence and they would build a profile of the killer. Okay, so that never happened, and they didn't have any DNA evidence. There was never a profile of the killer. It was an anonymous tip-off they'd received that made them wholeheartedly believe this. And it was about the infamous cufflinks. So, despite them initially considering that the cufflinks were such an important lead, they then thought it was just a red herring, so they had kind of dropped it until they got this anonymous tip-off, which made them believe that this conclusively placed the 16-year-old boy at Aileen's home and had murdered her that night. Okay. So apparently, you said this, and I was like, damn, the cufflinks, these cufflinks had been stolen from a house near Aileen's flat sometime in August.
You little genius.
It didn't say if it was the night of the murder or whether, because it was never reported, this person didn't report it, but so it didn't know whether it was actually the night of the murder or whether he'd done it sometime in August, the same month that Aileen was murdered. It was actually an elderly widow. She lived in this house, and her husband had these cufflinks, and they were stolen, like I say, in a break-in in August. So the police traced the family. Once the tip-off came in, they traced the family, because the lady had died a few years after Aileen's murder. So they traced the family, and they confirmed that yes, this was the cufflinks. The husband had owned them, and that they'd been stolen in this break-in. But she'd never come forward. Like you're saying, all this information's out there, at the time, and this woman never reported it, never came forward. So years later, finally the family are saying, oh yes, that definitely was the cufflinks. It's a wee bit.
Do you think she knew they were missing though?
She must have known, because otherwise how are the family going to be able to say, oh yeah, I remember that?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I don't know when she said they were missing, or it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't a police report. It was never reported.
So
but
when you say she was given a police report,
no, nothing.
or Gloria at her house, she would say what was missing. But then would you know everything that was missing? Maybe
Especially if they were really small.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd pay enough attention.
No, they're expensive.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's not like they were Gucci, was it?
And this is what I was thinking as well, because you said about the ice bucket, was it inexpensive? Was it something fancy? But if the 16-year-old, went into this house and saw these cufflinks, they were, he maybe thought, oh wow, he didn't know they were £2. He took them because he thought. So maybe he saw this gold and white ice bucket and thought, oh, that's expensive. So he could have done it, could have been it. But anyway,
it's an awkward thing to steal, though.
I know.
Just take jewellery, or it's still weird, isn't it?
It is, isn't
Maybe
it?
he did it just to throw everyone off.
I don't know. I don't even know who did that anymore. But anyway, so the police believed that, like you said, he'd broken into this old lady's house, stolen the cufflinks or whatever else, then broke into Aileen's house, took nothing from her house, but killed her other than the wallet and the ice bucket, killed her, and one of the cufflinks had dropped out.
Okay. That makes sense, doesn't it?
So
That's sort of logical.
Night then, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Must have to
possibly.
have been.
We said he was a prolific housebreaker. Did he have any previous history of violence when he was breaking and entering?
Didn't say again. There's very little information. I would have liked to have known that as well. Yes.
Yeah. But then he
But it
could
was
have just
prolific.
panicked in the moment when he saw her, and he'd never done anything like that before, and he panicked, and that was close by, possibly,
Yeah.
allegedly.
So the police said that it was this fact that they decided it was this boy that broke. I mean, they didn't catch anybody they didn't even know there'd been a robbery at this other lady's house. But he broke in, did that, and it was that evidence, as well as apparently some comments he'd allegedly made concerning Aileen's death, as well as after the police spoke to his friends and acquaintances back then, that led them to believe that he was Aileen's killer. There was no DNA, there was nothing to put him at the scene, but because the police thought he had robbed this lady, then went on to Aileen, and because that cufflink was there, that proved he murdered her. Conclusively proves
It's a
that he
bit
murdered her.
sketchy, though, isn't it?
Later in November, it was reported that Aileen's case was closed because the prime suspect was dead, and they wouldn't be hunting for Aileen's killer anymore. And that was it. That was the case of 31-year-old Aileen Printie. So what do you think?
Did they ever marry up fingerprint signs, something like that?
There was nothing. They had nothing. There was All that was what they had. Other than, it would be good, because I don't know whether you've noticed, but they're not very transparent, the Scottish courts or the police. It would be good if the family have said, this potential suspect's family have said, he didn't do it. He didn't, obviously, they said he's been hounded by the police and they're just looking for a scapegoat. And show me what evidence you've got that conclusively proves that he did this, and they've not. So I think in this case, I mean, they've been left with this hanging over them. Why would you not just be a wee bit more transparent and just say, look, we do have a wee bit more. We haven't told you. All this would have come out at the court, so they might have more. But that's all they're saying, and they've left it with not got the DNA, and it never happened. There's nothing. It's just this cufflink that was found. They've decided he killed her.
Oh, that's
why I said unresolved.
Yeah.
How many years do you have to wait before the police open their confidential files?
Time. Yeah, they're not going to do it in a hurry.
Who actually thinks he did it? Put your hand up if you think he did. No one thinks he did it. Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah.
I am shocked at that.
That's why I say, but
I'm
it's
not sure what I
obviously
think.
Aileen's family, they're happy with that. They feel they've got justice. They've got, they know what happened. They're happy to let that rest. His family obviously are left with this,
Have his family ever tried to do anything to clear his name?
There's
like
been
giving interviews?
There's been nothing since 1997.
Wow.
They just basically said he's a scapegoat and he didn't do it. Tell me what you've got that proves it. Nothing. There's been nothing.
That's very sad for his children, isn't it? Yeah. And his wife.
That's what, yeah.
Because they're just going to be known as...
Yep.
Oh, that's
and I
very
hate
sad.
bashing on the police, because I've got another podcast and I do speak to police officers and some of them are really great. But back then there was a lot of, sometimes they just want to clear the decks, don't they? They want somebody for that killing.
Yeah. They needed Rebus on the case, that's what they needed.
You could see a case like that getting a not proven verdict.
Yes, Uh-huh.
Do they have anything still in their possession with potential DNA on it? You said they had the brick.
They've got the brick.
Surely if they have them, there's got to be some sort of DNA on them.
It literally, that was all it said, that it was conclusive, that they had this profile, the basic for DNA, but then it turns out they've got nothing.
Maybe they destroyed that evidence too.
Yeah, because they do
because
that,
they've
don't
closed
they, after
the
a
case.
certain amount of time.
That's it. I'll get rid of it.
It's a shame they don't have her clothes. Like if they'd have kept her clothes, but then they didn't do that much back then.
Yeah, and they didn't know what was going on. It was back in 1981. They're not thinking, that far ahead. And even if I always think about when like you say, there's a lot of cases that are now, we've got the DNA from years later. But is it safe? Is it safe? Because contamination, it's a long time. Yeah, exactly. It's worrying.
That's what I've got to say about blood splatter and things. Like with the brick, there must have been a mess. Do you know what I mean?
Well, aye, because like I say, bludgeoned. He said bludgeoned. So that there was no mention of this boy walking along with the ice bucket, having blood on him. I mean,
just it could have broken in, took what he took, and when he went in, she was dead. And then he was a 16, 17-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I thought he could have stolen that cufflink.
Could have been the married man that she had sex with.
Yep.
Yeah, could have been the man walking into Edinburgh with his suit on, couldn't it? Did they never found him? Nothing ever came of that.
Did you not say the cufflink was under her body though?
No, just found at the scene, not under her body. No, just at the scene. No, it's okay. But I'm sorry, it's unresolved. What do you think? Solved?
We hate unresolved. It's so unsatisfying.
But this is actually a listener, one of my listeners actually requested this when I hadn't heard of it.
I feel for these white kids. I think we should crowdfund, whatever it is you call it, and get the brick if they've got in the cufflink, get it tested.
Prove it either way. So what do you think? I'm curious. I mean, obviously, if somebody's died, if the potential suspect has died, that's the end of it. Do you think that maybe it shouldn't be? Do you think that maybe, okay, you can't have a trial versus maybe you should have a trial? Present everything so everything's out there, And why can't they be convicted after they're dead?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that because the family have the mother and the daughter or sister have accepted, there's no pressure to do anything else.
Yep.
That's it. We've just covered a case like that in Australia, and it was solved. It was about gay. There was a lot of gay murders in Australia, men who were murdered in Sydney and just pushed off cliffs, basically, and they didn't know it was happening. And one particular guy who was over from America, he had been murdered, and his family just didn't stop. And then they found out, like 20, 30 years later, it was actually loads of homosexual men who were bashed in that area and who were pushed over cliffs, and it opened up a whole massive thing, and it did a big inquiry into the police, and they found out eventually that he was murdered because the police had said that he'd taken his own life. And because the family pushed and pushed and pushed, this guy, it did help that this guy was a billionaire. He had done this his brother became a billionaire in the time, but because the family pushed for so long, they found out about all these other things that were happening in Australia. At that time, it was in the 80s as well, when it wasn't a good time to be gay in Australia, or pretty much most places. And they think that because of his particular case, it actually pushed gay marriage to be legal much quicker in Australia than it would have, because of this family just pushing and pushing over all of this amount of time, and they finally got closure. But I mean, he was flying back and forth from Australia to Sydney, and it was so many years, and not everyone has that money. And like lots of those families didn't get proper closure because the police just weren't interested in investigating, and it was horrible. It was just that he had the money and he was really at it, and his wife was really at it, that actually got solved. So I can see how this happens so often.
I was just thinking, could they not have even got DNA from, the suspect, even in the car or round about the car, to compare it? Do you know what I mean? And it's so sad. Do you know what I mean? It's like why the family didn't fight for it either.
I don't know.
We just accepted it. But the police, I think, played a big part in just kind of making it all neat and tidy to go away,
Yeah. When it's closed, as far as they're concerned, it's so
and the stress, imagine all the stress on the family, over all those years continuously, just not being able to get on with your life. And
telling kind of story from what happened back then and how it was treated by the police to how it would be treated nowadays.
Yeah.
The forensics would be all over it. There's not many murders that actually are unsolved, perhaps, these days, given the advances. So yeah, I just wonder, what would have happened had they had the technology then that they do now.
And the care, I think, as well.
They must have nothing left. Because they would be able to check children and have some sort of match, even if it wasn't 100%. You can tell it's family and stuff, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, I'm afraid. But it was really interesting getting all your theories, because obviously you can maybe sense by my tone that I don't like how that was done. I don't like that they put his name out there. I don't like that they put that pressure on the family. I don't like that at all, that the police did that. Not that I don't think he did it. I don't know, and we'll never know. He might have did it, but it's not fair. Yeah. So it's interesting hearing what you all had to say, and all that. Yeah, thank you for that.
It is really frustrating though not to know.
It is.
Yeah,
I know.